Allez, on a terminé avec coursework ou homework on if structure. Ensuite, on a terminé avec introduction, the basic shapes of flowchart, and an example of how to build the flowchart using the shape. Maintenant, ce que nous pouvons faire, c'est converting an if structure to flowchart. Maintenant, avant que nous commencions avec converting if structure to flowchart, let us start by converting a simple sequential structure to flowchart. So here is an example. Convert the following to flowchart. So this is a sequential structure. Pourquoi sequential? Because you have output, input, output, input. There is no condition in these instructions. For example, if condition, then you do not have this. So it is sequential because the program has to execute all these instructions, of course starting from the top to the bottom. So how do we convert this to flowchart? First, I will start with the terminator start. With one outgoing arrow. Then I have output, please enter your name as instruction. So I am going to write please enter your name. So since it is an output instruction, vous mettez dans parallélogramme. And since it is a parallelogram, we have only one outgoing arrow. Maintenant, what is going to point? This arrow is going to point to the next instruction. So what is the next instruction? Normalement, on va finir execute première instruction, pour quand même execute deuxième instruction. So this is going to be the next instruction. So I am going to write input std name. Since it is an input, so I am going to use a parallelogram. Since it is a parallelogram, so you are going to have one outgoing arrow. So next you have output, please enter your age. So I am going to write the same thing. Since it is an output, toujours parallelogram. And finally, we have input std age. So I am going to have only one outgoing arrow. And finally, I have input std age with one outgoing arrow and here. So this is my flowchart for the first question. Next, now we are going to take a look at a flowchart, to construct a flowchart where you have an if structure. Allez, on va voir. Ici, vous avez deux prompts. You have this first prompt, which is input, please enter your employee ID, then you have output, please enter your employee ID, and you have input employee ID. Second, you have output, please enter your salary, and then you have input employee salary. And third, you have if employee salary. Maintenant, remarquez bien, ici, vous avez, you have a prompt, you have a second prompt. Now, what is a prompt? Just so you know, on a déjà travaillé sur prompt. Prompt is when you tell the computer to send a message on the screen and then capture the answer and send it to a memory location. The answer will come from the end user. Again, you tell the computer to put a message on the screen, and then the end user is going to input a value. The computer has to store it in the memory location here, name here. Next, you have if employee salary, etc., etc., and you have whatever action has to be taken. You have the else part, whatever action has to be taken, and if. And from here to here, you have an if structure. And next, after the if structure ends here. Après if structure, vous avez output tax. So let us start with the two prompts, which is quite easy. So first, I am going to start with the terminator start. Then I am going to convert this first instruction into its flowchart. So one outgoing arrow again, output, the second instruction, input employee ID. We are going to have third, please enter your salary and input into employee salary. So now next step, you have the if structure. Start with an if, it will end with an and if. Now, comment construire an if structure? You are going to take a look at the if structure that has been explained before. So here you have the if structure, which you should note in your copybook. So this is an example of an if structure. You have a decision box, you have two paths. Ensuite, these two paths, they should meet at this point, and you go on with your sequential structure, which is going to be here. C'est comme ça que nous allons construire an if structure. So here again, I am going to construct my if structure, same as this one. Okay, so I will start with my decision box. I am going to have my two paths using my pencil. So I can erase it afterwards. And these two paths, they are meeting here. And I will have one outgoing arrow after the end if. Now, interpreting the pseudocode to this structure, this condition is going to be written in this decision box. So I will treat it as an if. Then it's going to be on the yes path. whatever comes after then. And here I have a new path. It is going to list all the instructions found in the else path. N'oubliez pas, you have an if path. After then you have instruction, after else you have instruction. Whatever instruction is found after then is going to be listed here, and whatever instruction is found after else is going to be listed here, and whatever instruction is found after and if is going to be listed here. So this point I am going to call it and if point. So I'm going to construct my if structure. So I have employee salary as condition. So this is going to be converted into a question. The question is EMP salary greater or equal to 5,000. Now that means if this is true, so you are going to do this. So if this is true, the answer will be yes. So this is true. So here on the path, true path, I am going to take this instruction and copy it on this path. So here I will remove this and tax is 10 over 100 multiplied by EMP salary. Now this is a process. You have the assignment arrow here, and the computer is going to perform a calculation. So it is going to be held into a rectangle. As a recap, a process is when you have this arrow on one side, you have a value assigned to it, or you have a formula that is to be calculated. So here we have, this is an example of a process. Now on this side I am going to have whatever is found on the else path is going to be found on this path. So I'm going to have tax assign 5 over 100 multiplied by EMP salary. We are not done yet. And if, so this is the and if point. So it corresponds to this. But after and if, qu'est-ce que vous avez là? Ici, c'est output tax. Now this instruction should come after this point. Not on this path, not on this path, but on this path. Parce que it is found, où ça? Ça se trouve en dehors du if structure. So I am going to write output tax, and it should be a parallelogram with one outgoing arrow, and I do not have anything else, so I use the terminator. And so here you are, the if structure converted into flowchart. Next, what you are going to do now, vous allez essayer de faire le numéro 3, convert the pseudocode below to flowchart. So you have a simple sequential structure with 2 prompts which have been done for you. Now, put it on pause, note it down in your copybook, and you work it out. Then you are going to work out to the workout number 4. So here you have to convert the pseudocode below the flowchart. You have two prompts. This is the first prompt, the first line is the prompt. You have a second prompt. You have a process, because this is a process, and you have an if structure, and after the if structure you do not have anything. So put it on pause, note it down in your copybook, and you try to work it out. Okay, so I will send you the answer through WhatsApp.